Okay, so you want to own a soft drink company. It's a beautiful idea. You've got a recipe, something delicious, something people will love, a catchy name, a nice logo, and the product itself costs almost nothing to make. It's water, sugar, some flavoring, and a little gas to make it fizz. You could sell it for $1 and make a fortune on every can. The math seems almost too good, which historically is the exact feeling that precedes a very expensive lesson. Because you're about to walk into one of the most profitable industries on the entire planet and discover that essentially none of that profit is available to you. It's already been taken. The game was won before you got here by two companies using a structure so quiet and so complete that most people who drink their products every day have no idea it exists. By the end of this video, you'll understand what a soft drink company actually sells. Because the giants at the top are not really in the business of making drinks at all. You'll understand why you can invent the best tasting soda on earth and still go bankrupt for a reason that has nothing to do with taste. And you'll understand the invisible wall between your delicious drink and the customer's hand. And the two companies who built it, who guard it, and who will decide quietly that your can never gets through. Let's start with how good this business looks from the outside. On paper, soft drinks are a perfect business. The ingredients are almost free. The product is mostly water. And water, famously, falls from the sky. Add sugar, flavoring, carbonation, and you've turned a few cents of raw materials into something people will happily pay $1 or two for, and then come back and buy again tomorrow, and the day after, forever. It's cheap, it's addictive, it's legal, and demand never runs out. The global market for these fizzy little water sugar mixtures is worth over $300 billion a year. $300 billion, for flavored soda water. So the fantasy is intoxicating. Make a great tasting drink, slap it on a shelf next to the giants, win over some customers with a better flavor, and carve off just a sliver of a $300 billion pie. Even a crumb of that pie makes you rich. There's just one problem with that plan, and it's a big one. You've been thinking about this as a drink business. It isn't. And the two companies who figured that out a century ago are the reason you'll lose. Here's the first thing nobody tells you. The most powerful soft drink companies in the world barely make any soda. Read that again, because it's the key to the entire industry. The giants at the top don't fill the cans. They don't run the bottling lines. They often don't own the trucks. What they make, the only thing they really make, is the concentrate, the secret flavored syrup. They sell that syrup to a separate network of companies called bottlers. And those bottlers do all the hard, physical, expensive work. Adding the water, adding the fizz, filling the cans, packing the pallets, and driving them to every store in the country. And when you split the business that way, something remarkable happens to the money. Making concentrate is astonishingly profitable. It's cheap to produce, it ships in tiny volumes because it's just the flavor without the water, and a single concentrate plant can supply an entire nation. The gross margins on that syrup run around 60 to 80%. At the top company, concentrate is well over half its revenue and nearly all of its profit. One tanker of the stuff yields close to 2 million liters of finished drink. Now look at the bottlers. They carry the enormous cost of the factories, the aluminum, the sugar, the packaging, which alone eats up 40-odd% of their sales, and the fuel to haul heavy liquid across the country. For all that capital and all that sweat, their operating margins sit down around 8%. Sit with those two numbers. The company that makes the syrup keeps roughly a third of every dollar as profit. The company that makes the actual drink keeps about 8 cents. Same product, same shelf, wildly different fates. The giant deliberately kept the easy, rich, asset-light half, the brand and the flavor, and handed the hard, heavy, low-margin half to somebody else, while keeping the power to raise syrup prices whenever it likes. So the most valuable soft drink companies on earth aren't really drink makers. They're marketing and intellectual property companies that happen to sell flavored water rights. The soda is almost a byproduct of selling the brand. This is the pattern under half the businesses people think they understand. The real money hiding one layer away from the obvious product. That's the whole channel. Subscribe, and you'll start seeing it everywhere. Now, you can't easily become one of those giants. That would require a century of brand building and a formula everyone already trusts. But you don't want to be a giant, you just want a sliver. So you make your soda, and you go to put it on the shelf. And that is where you meet the walls. Here's the thing that actually kills soft drink companies. Not the recipe, not the flavor, the shelf. Between your delicious drink and the customer who would love it stands a distance most first-time founders never think about. The distance from your kitchen to that cold, eye-level spot in the store. And that distance is not open road. It's a wall, built and owned by the incumbents, and getting over it is the entire game. Start with distribution. To reach thousands of stores, you need a distribution network, a fleet, a warehouse, relationships with every retailer. You almost certainly can't build that yourself, so you rely on independent distributors. But here's the catch. The small brands learn the hard way those distributors also carry the giants' products. And the giants can make it quietly, powerfully clear that a distributor who leans too hard into some upstart brand might find their relationship with the market leader complicated. The small brands have said this out loud in their own investor filings, that larger competitors put pressure on distributors not to carry alternative brands. You're not just competing for customers, you're competing for the truck. And the truck already has a favorite. Then, even if you reach the store, you meet the shelf itself, and the shelf is not free. Retailers charge what are called slotting fees. Money you pay, up front, simply for the right to have your product placed on the shelf at all. Not to sell it, just to sit there. The giants pay these fees without blinking. For a small brand, the cost of buying its way onto shelves across a chain can be the thing that empties the bank account before a single customer ever takes a sip. And then there's the cruelest tactic of all, and it's genuinely elegant in a ruthless way. The giants flood the shelf with their own new flavors. Every strange limited edition variant you've seen appear and vanish. The vanilla one, the cherry one, the mystery colored one, many of those exist for one reason: to occupy space. If the market leader can fill a shelf slot with its own experimental flavor for a few months, that's a slot your drink cannot have. It's not always about selling that flavor. Sometimes it's about making sure you can't be there. They will spend money losing on a weird soda purely to keep you off the shelf entirely. So the wall has 3 layers: the distributor who won't carry you, the fee you can't afford, and the shelf deliberately packed so you don't fit. And behind all 3 stand the same 2 companies, who together hold something like 90% of the market and who have spent a century making sure the wall stays exactly where it is. If you think this is exaggerated, the beverage aisle is a graveyard, and the headstones all say the same thing. Consider the real story of the plucky, independent sodas, the craft brands, the natural sodas, the ones with the cool bottles and the loyal fans. Read their own words to investors and you find the same confession, over and over, that they compete not just for customers but for shelf space and for the attention of distributors against rivals with vastly greater resources, and that if they can't secure enough distribution, they simply won't hit their targets. That's not a marketing problem. That's a structural death sentence written in the company's own paperwork. Some built genuinely beloved products, great taste, cult followings. It didn't matter. A devoted fan who cannot find your drink is not a customer. They're just someone who remembers you fondly while buying the thing that was actually on the shelf. Affection doesn't survive inconvenience. People will love your soda and buy the giants every single time because the giants is the one within reach. So here's my question for the comments. What's a drink you genuinely loved that just disappeared? One you could never find again? Name it. Because I promise you, it didn't vanish because people stopped wanting it. It vanished because it lost the war for the shelf. I want to see how long that list gets. So, is owning a soft drink company worth it? Here's the honest answer, and it's more brutal than for almost any business we've looked at. The product is cheap to make, the market is enormous, and the margins at the top are spectacular. Everything about it screams opportunity, and that opportunity is almost entirely fenced off. Because in this industry, the drink was never the point. The giants proved it. They walked away from the actual soda, the water, the cans, the trucks, the thin margins, and kept the 2 things that truly print money: the brand and the shelf. They sell a flavored syrup at a king's markup and let someone else sweat the physical drink. And they guard the path to the customer so completely that a better product simply cannot reach the person who wants it. So if you start a soft drink company dreaming of your flavor beating their flavor, you've misunderstood the fight before it's begun. They are not going to out-taste you. They don't have to. They'll out-distribute you, out-fee you, and out-shelf you. And your beautiful, delicious, cheap-to-make soda will die in a warehouse, undefeated on flavor and bankrupt on everything else. The soft drink business isn't won in the glass. It's won in the truck, on the shelf, and in the contract. And those were bought and paid for 100 years ago. You can absolutely make a better soda than the giants. You just can't make anyone find it. If you like watching an easy business turn out to be a fortress, subscribe. That's the whole channel. Next time, the economics of owning an airline, a business that somehow makes more money from a credit card loyalty program than from flying you anywhere. It's stranger than it sounds. I'll see you then.